Here we go, everyone. This is Formula One. Incredible! What a move! Chaos. And he's done it!
It's a moment I will never ever forget.
Well, it may have been his third sprint win of the year, but how important a victory was that for George Russell off the back of a summer break which saw him rejuvenated, mentally reset to bid for his first world title. He's clawed back a smattering of points against his teenager teammate who was leading the world standings, Charles Leclerc in P2, overtaking Lando Norris for P3. That is your F1 sprint. Not a whole lot of action, but we'll get into some of it, shall we? Here is the F1 sprint post-show. And welcome down to the paddock. I can just see the wind is blowing some of the brollies we've got. The weather has really come in now. We'd sort of have hoped for this to have come in a bit earlier on in the race, but I'm sure George Russell wouldn't have hoped for that.
We were denied a real twist there, weren't we, at the end, with a little bit of rain that came in. It wasn't a huge amount, actually, that came over the paddock, but yeah, George Russell would have breathed a sigh of relief as he drove through that to Parc Fermé on his way to pick up the trophy.
Alex Brundle with me, and we welcome Ruth Buscombe as well, former F1 strategist turned F1 analyst for us. Ruth, not a whole lot of strategy technically on paper to look at in that race, no pit stops to talk of, but what did you deduce from what we saw?
So, two things. Spoke to Toto on the way. I said, it can always rain at Zandvoort, and he rolled his eyes. So that's the first bit of strategy. It can always rain. Secondly, soft versus medium. We saw Charles start on the soft. Good race, made the overtake stick. I think everyone else was on the medium to save the softs for qualifying. So I want to see more on the soft tomorrow.
Okay, so for qualifying later on, Charles Leclerc effectively has one fewer set of soft tyres. How much of a difference do you think that can make?
Well, it could be nothing. It could be huge amounts of jeopardy on a track where every banker lap, no pun intended, can make a difference because he's now one soft down compared to everyone else trying to get pole.
Yeah, he's going to have to get through, basically, to Q3 with one set of new tyres, isn't he, more or less? But it was kind of interesting, the soft, actually, because what we all thought was that it would be good off the line and then might be a bit of a struggle towards the end of the race. Actually, the reverse was true. It wasn't really worth a huge amount off the line, but on that Ferrari, in comparison to, for example, the McLaren, it actually hung on for the race distance, so the rest of the field will definitely be looking at that in terms of the performance of the soft being probably a bit better than they might have thought it would be, especially with the conditions as cool as they are.
And actually, it was the mediums of Lando Norris that were really struggling. You're seeing here the overtake.
I think Leclerc caught him napping a bit here, actually, with having more energy coming onto that front straight than Norris thought he did. It was kind of the second phase of their acceleration after the banking. A little bit of a late defence, but he realised that Charles was already down there. And we'll have to watch the rest of the field as well, and especially Norris will be looking for that one in the Grand Prix too. There's obviously that second phase where they can still deliver quite a lot of energy, and it's an opportunity to be quite far back and still have a go down to turn one.
You have some races where my notes are pouring off the page. You have some where you don't have as many notes. I don't have as many notes about that race, I'm going to put it that way. But we'll go back to the start, shall we? And it was business as it was for George Russell and Lando Norris. They held position. Kimi Antonelli making the gain there. But we did have some unexpected pit lane starts in Sergio Perez. What happened?
I think it was a hydraulic issue that they did. But the great thing about sprint weekend, they fixed it, sent the car back out again 3 laps later, which if it was a race, why would you do that? But they can learn, they can fix. And they were going similar pace to Williams at one point.
Yeah, that is what I'm hearing that Sergio Perez was saying down in the media pen, that they were on pace with Williams. So for Cadillac, for Marcin Bukowski, of course, coming into his first race, that's got to be, I mean, the hydraulic issue, certainly not what he wanted, but the recovery and the manner in which they saw pace emerge, perhaps some shoots of recovery.
It's always tricky to evaluate, though, isn't it? I mean, you see, for example, Alonso starts from the pit lane, spent his whole race tucked up 3/10 behind the car ahead. Gasly finished 30 seconds behind the leading cars. There was a chasm in the middle of the field, which shows you've really got a race of two halves. And at that point, you're stuck in the midfield, so you can't really see what kind of pace you've got. But it's going to be that kind of Grand Prix as well. You know, the performance of the cars when they're running in proximity to each other here is going to be almost as important. And then it's going to be hammer time, get the pit stop done, maybe a one-stopper, maybe a two-stopper. Ruth will have plenty of ideas, no doubt, after that one to take into the Grand Prix. But that's the kind of Grand Prix it is here. But of course, in the sprint, you don't have the pit stops to play with.
I think we have seen just how important the pit stops will be tomorrow. We also had a DNF for Nico Hulkenberg. Let's hear what the issue was.
Nick, I felt for you at the start. I think it was 4 places maybe that you lost there. So talk me through that moment and obviously the frustration of retiring the car as well.
Well, we went out at the end actually again for one lap. Yeah, some sort of power issue right from the beginning. So yeah, not much to say really. Didn't really do much. So hopefully, or it's fixed. The team did some work, fixed something, and when I went out for that one lap, it felt back to normal. So hopefully, all okay for quali.
Well, best luck for that. Thank you.
Yeah, gutting for Nico Hulkenberg. He had so much promise in FP, didn't he? Didn't have the car beneath him in SQ. And then the sprint itself, a DNF, not obviously the ample time to learn anything for the Grand Prix either. So work to do at Audi. Bortoletto was up there, though. And we welcome Jolyon Palmer, fresh from commentary. You've raced down here. Thank you for your efforts, Jolyon, as ever.
I didn't race too much. I waited for the rain to stop before I left. And I was enjoying DC on MC duties too much as well. But nice to be down here.
Yeah.
What did you think of the race? It wasn't the liveliest, was it? But
I've said
we had
not
a big overtake.
entirely action-packed, and that I normally make a few more notes.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
The Tarzan fact was a joy, though, about the cabbage patch down at turn 1. Enjoyed that
We're
one.
preparing ourselves for the next sprint race, which is Singapore, I think.
Singapore,
So,
yeah.
Tough to overtake in these, but good learning for everyone.
And difficult to go crops there as well.
This is what we are saying, is that we are looking at the learnings that we can take from that sprint race. Ruth was mentioning, of course, the soft tyre start for Charles Leclerc, what that means for qualifying for him later. What actually the teams will have learned from that soft tyre run for Charles as well, because they weren't falling off at the end, were they, Jolyon?
No, I'd probably start the Grand Prix on a soft now.
Yeah.
I'd have thought. You see that, you see him 24 laps, that will get you through the first stint quite well. It covers you off the line. It's worked out well for Leclerc. I think Ferrari have called that one right. But yeah, everyone else I think will do the same. It was the Max strategy from last year, wasn't it? That was surprisingly good for him, and it worked again for Charles.
Great stuff. We have a bit more analysis to come after this. From here at the Dutch Grand Prix, that was the sprint. George Russell was your winner. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, for those of you here with us on F1 TV, let's hear from some of our drivers, shall we? And hear how the likes of Pierre Gasly enjoyed that one. He is in P8, and Esteban Ocon as well in P14. Here they are.
Well, Pierre, great to see you back in the points. How pleased are you with, I guess, how the upgrade continues to perform and the pace that you were able to deliver today?
Yeah, it was great to be able to translate this upgrade into a point straight away in the sprint. So P8 is a good result. It's been a while since we were in the fighting for this type of result. So I'm pretty pleased. A good step forward. Obviously, still a few things to work on and to make me feel fully comfortable with the package. But overall, I'm pretty pleased.
Well, best of luck continuing that.
Thank you.
Pierre. Hey Esteban, just how was it out there? Difficult in terms of pure performance?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were lacking a little bit compared to the V-Carbs ahead. They were pulling away slightly. We were pulling away from the Williams behind, so we were a bit in a no man's land. Myself and Oli, we split the strategy, so that's going to be quite interesting for us to choose, for tomorrow, what tire will be the best. And yeah, quite a shame that the rain only came in the last lap, otherwise it would have been a more fun race for you guys to see. Yeah, quite sketchy out there, but let's make it a good afternoon, and hopefully we can put it more together tomorrow.
Best luck for that.
Thank you.
Welcome back down to the paddock. We're talking all things F1 sprint and taking a look at some of those points-paying positions and the drivers who occupy them. So Pierre Gasly then, P8. Alpine upgrades, what can we deduce from whether they are working or not? I mean, a point suggests they might be.
It does, but he was a very, very distant P8. You know, I guess, you know, he's best of the rest, don't get me wrong. You know, you're not expecting him to be challenging the Ferraris of this world, but 30 seconds over 24 laps is a long way back. It'll be something for the rest of the grid strategically to look at. He'll be happy with the points and to be best of the rest. It's going to be interesting to see if Audi can take a step forward now as they come out of Parc Ferme. I don't think Haas are going to be bothering them, but RB definitely will be. So there'll be a step forward, definitely.
This is the balance, isn't it, now, taking these cars out of Parc Ferme. How far do you push it based on your learnings and a chance to make changes ahead of qualifying? And then, of course, the Grand Prix tomorrow. Ahead of Gasly then was Lewis Hamilton starting P7, finishing P7. And although Max Verstappen was all over the back of Oscar Piastri, who lost a place to Kimi Antonelli, he ultimately was P6. Let's hear how the Dutchman feels on home soil.
Hey Max, well, progress looked difficult out there. What do you make of the learnings of the machine you've got around here?
I mean, we wanted to make some changes anyway, and after this race, it will stay the same. So same thought process. So we'll see if we can improve it a little bit. We definitely lack a little bit on like pure pace, but at least the deck wasn't too bad in the race. I just got a bit stuck behind Oscar, and around here, as soon as you get close, your tires overheat and you can't pass, so you're just stuck. But I think in the race we looked maybe a little bit more competitive, so that's good, but we need to find more overall performance.
Okay, some positivity then for Max Verstappen, wasn't there? And he was saying sort of about changing the car. We know Red Bull are absolutely superb from a Friday to a Saturday. Here they're going from a Saturday to a Saturday, but they can make changes. He was saying that thought process is staying the same in terms of the changes they want to make, Ruth. So which direction are they going in?
So half a second off pole isn't great if you're the home hero, but 0.3 of that was on the straights. I don't think they can do much about it, but I think about 1.5 was all to do with the setup. So I think that's what Max is talking about, and I think they'll tweak it. Secondly, he nearly did a pass on lap 1 on the low line in turn 3, which was pretty spicy to watch. So I think with a car he feels a bit better in, I reckon he'll be ready to go again, especially race pace tomorrow.
He loves it round here. We were reminiscing about that catch on lap 1 that he made last year, which was just absolutely superb. He loves to take an alternate line and see if he can make it stick.
Yeah, he'll definitely try it for tomorrow, I think. Of course, the last Dutch Grand Prix, he's got nothing to lose in the championship. Red Bull will get better. I haven't heard the word learnings said more times in such a short space of time, which I think says everything you need to know about that sprint. Kind of a practice session for a lot of people. But of course, they can now open up the Parc Ferme and change the setup. And Red Bull, very good at doing that, and I think Max will be better.
I think we're going to see, I'm going to trail a spicier turn 1 as well tomorrow, because all of these drivers go down into turn 1. I think you referenced it in commentary, JP. All of these drivers go down into turn 1 knowing if they really have a big issue, then they're not going to be qualifying for the big points in the Grand Prix. And you've got to have that in the back of your mind, especially when it's a little bit damp offline as you go down there into what is a 50-metre braking zone with everyone around you.
You've got to chance it as well to make an overtake. And I think that's why it was very difficult for people to make an overtake. I mean, Charles managed to do it. He got side by side into the first corner, obviously followed Lando for such a long time, worked out the strengths and weaknesses, realised the McLaren would be a bit vulnerable and deployed everything. But it's not a big braking zone even at turn 1. So you have got to get brave to do that. And I don't think they're willing to take big risks in the sprint. I completely agree. In the Grand Prix, there's a lot of drivers that don't have a huge amount to lose up against your Kimmys, your Georges. I don't know where Lewis will stand in that as well. So hopefully we will see a few more risks and therefore a few more overtakes.
We talk about learnings for tomorrow, but equally learnings for qualifying as well, because that now has just taken on a whole new importance, considering we do not have the overtaking opportunities here available to us, well, to the drivers at least. Red Bull was certainly in the news this week. Indeed, Racing Bulls too. Isaac Hadjar out with a wrist injury. Tsunoda in at Racing Bulls. Lawson up to Red Bull. Tsunoda ultimately finishing P13 in his first outing in 26 machinery. Let's hear from him and his teammate for this weekend, Arvid Lindblad.
Hey Yuki, well, how was that out there in the sprint? I know you lost that spot at the start, but after that the pace looked decent.
Yeah, start was good. I mean, start itself was good, which is surprising, you know, like first time everything, and I know lots of drivers were struggling, so I take that. I mean, in terms of losing the position, yeah, it was a bit unfortunate with the track positions and everything. You know, Arvid and Liam was fighting in front of me in turn 1, and you know those usual stuff. But yeah, I mean, other than the pace was pretty good. I mean, considering that, yeah, I mean, something there's I know that some performance coming from the things I'm not controlling. So I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, most important thing is I enjoyed every laps. Like I still like previous sessions, and I mean driving with other cars. You know, something I missed a lot, and I didn't sweat like this much last few months since last year's Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Great stuff. We'll enjoy quali later on. Thank you. Hey, Ovid, well, how was that out there? It didn't look like the most exciting sprint for you.
No, but I think we all knew a sprint race at Zandvoort's probably not going to be the most exciting race. So yeah, for me, honestly, not loads to say. I'm actually reasonably positive. You know, it's another 20, 25 laps under my belt on a new track for me, which is going to be very useful for the rest of the weekend. I think the pace is honestly better than expected. We normally struggle a little bit more in the race than quali, and considering we already weren't great in quali, to be, you know, quite competitive, quite easily able to hang on to the two guys in front, I think was, you know, decent. So yeah, let's see for the rest of the weekend, but we know we can make a step forward. I know there's more to come from me. So yeah, honestly feeling reasonably positive.
Reasonably positive for Arvid Lindblad. P10 for him ultimately. That would be points paying in a Grand Prix, but not in the sprint. But he was right up there and did a brilliant lap in SQ2 to get through to SQ3. He feels there was more left on the table there. He finished ahead of Liam Lawson, his Racing Bulls teammate, who of course had stepped up to Red Bull, and Yuki Tsunoda, as we say, in P13. But I mean, he thoroughly enjoyed that, didn't he? I think that was wonderful to see how much he enjoyed getting out there amongst the cars. And considering it wasn't the most action-packed of sprint races, he will have learned quite a lot for tomorrow, no?
Maybe it helps, you know,
Yeah.
Get out there, get a feel for everyone else. You know, being in a race is a different sensation to just doing a TPC test or being out there on your own. Even if you do a race simulation, which is a bit grindy, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't say no if somebody offered me one, but
Anyone listening?
what a
Give
slog of
Rundle
a job. Yeah, they're bothering him to drive those Formula One cars again, poor bloke. Yeah, it is more fun being out there with the rest of the traffic. And you get a sense as well for where your car is quick and slow, where you might be able to overtake, even if you can't. And so, yeah, much more enjoyable.
I like Yuki's interview. It's the first driver that's come out and said, well, look, the main thing is I enjoyed myself in that. I don't think that's what everyone else is thinking. But when you're getting your first chance at racing in 2026, then, yeah, he's remembered that, yeah, we're racing in the mix of it and feeling the speed and the adrenaline and the buzz of it all again. And I don't know if it's all about enjoying himself in the Grand Prix tomorrow. I think there's a bit more to prove now for him. But I like that he's happy that he just was happy.
I wonder whether you'd have preferred the Greek beach to the call-up, Jolyon. We'll see.
He did say, didn't he? He was like, am I really coming off the beach for this? Am I definitely going to be getting a chance?
Great stuff. All right, we're going to be getting into the top 5 drivers very soon, hearing from them and looking ahead to qualifying here at the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. Now, a little teaser for all of you on F1 TV. On the latest episode of F1 Beyond the Grid podcast, Damon Hill remembers his World Championship win 30 years on.
It's very depressing when you've been beaten and you're not getting the results you want. It can be quite a downer. So I was pretty down after 95 because I basically had my backside whipped by Michael Schumacher and my nose rubbed in it and all the rest of it. And I didn't like it. You know, it was humiliating. I really thought 95, from 94, having come close to winning the title, I thought 95, this is it. I'm going to, you know, come a close second. But unfortunately, he did for me in 95. And I emotionally, psychologically, had a big dent, but in over the winter, I knew that I had 96 as a great opportunity to maybe win a title. So I had to get myself together. And one of the ways you do that is you have to let go of whatever has passed. And of course, hope springs eternal. And if you've got a car that is going to be good and got a chance of winning, then that's all you think about. You start to think about the future. You start thinking about what's to come. But if you've got a weakness, if you've got a flaw, you need to address that
And you can watch the full episode on the F1 YouTube channel and the session highlights, or listen along on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Welcome back to the paddock. The sprint is done and dusted. We're going to be building up to qualifying very soon. That comes later. How much learning will they have taken from yesterday's sprint qualifying and the sprint race there? Kimi Antonelli, I'm sure, will have learned a fair bit from that off into the gravel he had in qualifying yesterday. Ultimately, P4 for him in that sprint race. He did go up a position, a few points extra there. Let's hear from him.
Hey Kimi, well, great start. It looked like you had some really good pace in the car. I know you didn't make as much progress as you wanted, but is that encouraging for the rest of the weekend as well, what you showed?
Yeah, I think obviously starting at the back is always a bit difficult, and today was the confirmation that you need to start at the front because it's a hard overtake, and the dirty area is quite effective, especially the longer you go throughout the race. So yeah, I think pace was quite okay, but of course need to do a better qualifying.
The importance of qualifying. I'm feeling that is our running theme throughout this show, that they need to really focus in now. How does Kimi Antonelli do that? Because he's not been slow in qualifying so far this year, but he's got to now put that mistake behind him. What does that mentally do to him?
Yeah, you just got to focus in on making sure you get the laps on. It's something he's been really good at throughout the season so far, especially when you get to the last throws of Q3. He's been delivering. Perhaps he's going to have to just compartmentalise that as a little bit of rustiness at the beginning. And then the team, I think, have said there was damage to the car. When you look at the data, it doesn't appear to cost him a huge amount of time, I'll be honest, throughout Q3. There's another error in Q3. But I think with a run at it, with it being a bit less flustered, with him having some more, some more laps around the racetrack now, he can have another run at it and just put that behind him, compartmentalise that day and go ahead. We know he's super quick, so he should be able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruth, yesterday qualifying, that was less than a tenth between P1 and P4. Are you expecting it to be as tight, and how on earth do you therefore get on the right side of it?
I think we're expecting it to be as tight, if tighter. Kimi lost 2 tenths in one mistake. He'd have been ahead of George with the damage difference. I think any of the top 4 can be on pole, and pole has won here every single race since 2021. Mercedes have not won this thing since it's come back. The last time they won here was like 1955. Everyone wants pole here. The odd side of the grid matters. It's going to be huge, and jeopardy is going to be massive in terms of trying to get to Q3 with 2 new sets of those red soft tyres.
Can George do it again?
He can, absolutely.
Will he?
I'm not sure. I think Kimi will be a big threat. He was quickest in practice yesterday. He then went off on that very first lap, and that cost him a level of damage. We don't quite know, because the pace was still pretty good from him, but could it have been even better? And we didn't see his race pace at all because he was stuck in traffic. So I think Kimi is the threat really for George, but it's great to see George controlling a race again. He didn't need to do more than he did there, so I don't think we can use that as a measure of his pace in the race. And he's flying high on confidence, so maybe that'll give him the boost to find the extra tenth that he needs.
Yeah, limited learning so far this weekend, plenty of unknowns. One of them for you may be, when is qualifying? Let me tell you. This is the schedule then for the remainder of the Dutch Grand Prix weekend. Our sprint is done. We've all got to reset, drivers, broadcasters alike, and on to qualifying in the Grand Prix format. So a longer format, and of course any tyre able to use. Pre-qualifying coming up at 3:25, qualifying at 4 p.m. and post-qualifying straight after. Do join us for all the reaction immediately after that battle for pole. That pole position then will start, as Ruth says, and could well win the Dutch Grand Prix on Sunday race day. 10-2 for all your build-up, 3 p.m. start for that Dutch Grand Prix, and the post-race show with all of the reaction immediately after the podium. Will we see that run of pole to victory continue here at the Dutch Grand Prix in one final lap we have of this great circuit here? Parc Fermé is open. The unknowns build. Who's going to make some changes, do you feel?
I think McLaren will be making changes, but I'm not necessarily sure they'll be that focused on qualifying. I think McLaren have got to address the tyre deck, both from today and of course when Parc Fermé closes again to the Grand Prix. Both drivers will be coming back. I mean, Piastri appeared to struggle from the beginning, but Norris definitely had more tyre degradation than those around him, and he'll be coming back and going, I can't have that through all the stints of the Grand Prix. So they would be my pick as the first change.
I think Red Bull, Max has said it, they've said it, they're going to do some tweaks. I still don't think they're going to be challenging for pole, but Lewis Hamilton could do something. He lost nearly 3/10 to Charles into turn 1. He said he's not been happy with the car. I think they might tweak him and give him something that means he could be in the fight.
Yeah, I think Lewis is a driver that should be looking to find something with the change, but everyone's got to. We heard Mr. Tickle, George Russell's going to play around with it and find something. He's just taken pole and won. So, if you don't move forward, you're going to move backwards. And I think probably Charles Leclerc is the one happiest with where things are at. But again, I expect everyone's going to be looking to fine-tune what they can do and find that extra bit of performance.
Mr. Tickle. I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks, Jolyon. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks, Alex. That was your F1 sprint. And although not the most action-packed, I think plenty of learnings. Learnings is the key word here. Plenty of learnings to bring into qualifying and to race day. And do you know what? Qualifying now takes on all more importance, doesn't it? We'll see you a bit later on for qualifying here at the Dutch Grand Prix.
Welcome to the second part of the season. This is Zandvoort, and it is a cracker of a layout. The Dutch Grand Prix is underway, and Max Verstappen takes the lead. What a great move from Fernando Alonso to bring the crowd to their feet. And barging through is Charles Leclerc. Wow, it's epic around here. A super move. They bang wheels.
That is what hunger looks like. He was not going to give it up.
Max Verstappen, another home victory. Lando Norris wins. Oscar Piastri, the crowd cheering him home. What a Dutch Grand Prix to remember.